Wouldn't it be nice to know if our prayers and our actions are acceptable to God? If our words and our deeds were deemed good in the eyes of God? Wouldn't it be nice to have some sort of confirmation that our prayers are heard and that we are on the right path? In our Jewish liturgy, we actually have a blessing that asks God to accept our prayers and our worship. It is called ritzeh, meaning accept. It is part of our closing blessings in our Amidah standing prayers. It is as if we have just finished writing a letter to God and then conclude with please confirm receipt. We pray that God will find favor with what we have spoken and that God's presence will draw close to us in return. So how do we know if God finds favor in our words and our deeds? The prayer itself actually gives us a hint as to what intentions are acceptable by God. It uses forms of the Hebrew word avodah, and this word has multiple meanings that give us insight. First, it stems from the ancient temple in Jerusalem when Jews would bring animal sacrifices as a way to communicate with God. Second, once we found a new way to communicate with God, the word avodah came to mean the worship or prayer of the heart, the word we see in our prayer book today. Third, in modern Hebrew, the word means employment or occupation. So what do all of these definitions have in common? The root of the word avad means to serve. This teaches us that meaningful avodah is when our intentions are focused on serving others. When we are not just thinking of ourselves, but focused on how we can best be God's hands here on earth, we are doing avodah, service that is worthy in the eyes of God. In the nonfiction book, Have a Little Faith by Mitch Albom, he receives the unexpected request to deliver a eulogy for an 82-year-old rabbi in his hometown. As the two spend time together before the rabbi's passing, the rabbi shares lessons with Mitch about how to live a life of purpose. Laying in the hospital bed, the rabbi says, "When a baby comes into the world, its hands are clenched, right? Like this." He made a fist. Why? Because a baby, not knowing any better, wants to grab everything to say the whole world is mine. But when an old person dies, how does he do so? With his hands open. Why? Because he has learned his lesson. What lesson? I asked. He stretched open his empty fingers. We can take nothing with us. This poignant moment reminds us not just how to be grateful for what we have, but to go through life with open hands, sharing with and serving others. One at old age knows that everything worth holding on to cannot really be physically grasped. So as we go about our days and we wonder what actions are most acceptable to God, we need only to open our hands towards those around us.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu me'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tikabeh Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato letzion.